let's move now to the wide receiver positions 2023 rankings and tiers. Way too early, but maybe not early enough for you guys. Let's pull up my wide receiver rankings and dive into my tiers and my overall philosophy at the position, which is greatly changing. As you all know, I've always been a bell cow breeder. Running back, figure out the rest. I'm switching it up this year. 0 RB. Yes, zig where others are zagging. Everybody's going to be on the 0 running back train after the year we saw. And we've seen this happen before. Big receiver years followed up by big workhorse back years. I really don't care. You look at this top 6 here I got in tier 1, all first-round locks for me. And every single one of them, you're getting elite production. That's what's so nice about the first-round receivers is it's set and forget. Like your running backs, the injuries and the underwhelming nature of Dalvin Cook and just – there's certainly more risk and more fluctuation in the running back position. Whereas receivers, you draft Justin Jefferson at 1, Tyreek Hill 2, Stephon Diggs 3, Devontae Adams 4, Jamar Chase 5, Cooper Kupp at 6. You're getting elite production from all of those guys. And that's why they deserve to 100% be first-round locks. Only maybe you consider McCaffrey, Eckler, and Henry over any of them. Now, you could rank these guys really in whatever order you'd like. I do think Jefferson has affirmed himself. I'm the guy. I'm the captain. I'm number 1 here. Approaching 2,000 yards this year. A monster season for him. Him and Kirk Cousins only going to get better, in my opinion. So I love Justin Jefferson at the top for me. But Tyreek Hill, what an absolute, he needs Pat Mahomes. Not quite after this season. The big thing was the volume. And he kept talking about how I'm leaving the Chiefs because they don't throw it to me enough. And then you saw it come to fruition, 12, 13, 14, 15, 13, 14, 10, 30. I mean, over half of his game, he had 13 or more targets. That's beastly for Tyreek Hill. And man, did he impress in this offense, running after the catch. Not Deebo Samuel in terms of backfield and that type of usage, but greatly schemed up by Mike McDaniels. Diggs, you don't need me to rave about him. You know how damn good he is. The best quarterback in fantasy football, his number 1 weapon. He really reemerged too. Like I know that last year, he a little underwhelming for Stephon Diggs standards. He really bounced back. Huge year for Stephon Diggs this past year. And I know that the end of the year was a little cold. 5-8, 4-4. Some shitty weather in there. It's just some mixes. So that's like why he's not my number 1 guy, despite being in such an explosive offense. I still think Stephon Diggs, though, pretty impossible to rank as anything other than a top 5 asset. You could argue maybe you bump Adams over him depending on what happens at quarterback. I mean, what a year he had, even with Carr. Stidham last week, 2 touchdowns. I mean, beastly game. But Jamar Chase, he could always, you bump him above Diggs if you want. Really, you can reorganize these top 5. They're just the first-round locks. Nobody has the ceiling of these guys to just go for 40 to 50 any given week. I think Cooper Kupp rounds him out. He's the biggest question mark. That's the only reason he's at 6. Because, before getting hurt, he's the wide receiver, too, in fantasy points per game at the position. Actually finishes a top 20 PPR wide receiver, playing only 9 of the games on the season. So Justin Jefferson had 18.7 half PPR points per game, but Cooper Kupp 18.2 right behind him. Then Tyreek Hill, Adams, and Diggs round out your top 5 in points per game. Diggs did drop off a bit. Adams and Hill at 17 and then Diggs 15. But man, just so freaking good. And then he moved to tier 2. These are my round 2 guys. And that's where I start to consider running backs more. But I also have CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown at 7, 8, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown at 9. Locked into my running back. My round 2 positions there. Locked in at wide receiver 1s, but elite. If you go receiver, Chase and Lamb, something of that nature, you could have a ridiculous start. Look at some of the biggest running backs from the season. We're talking about like Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard. Like you could have had them. Josh Jacobs. You had those 3 running backs and then 3 elite receivers, and that will probably those guys will emerge again in 2023. Those mid-round running backs that just go nuts. So I do love this receiver approach. I'm definitely going to be experimenting more with it. Those are the guys I consider the round 2, fringe round 1, definitely round 2 locks in Lamb, Brown, and St. Brown. Lamb in particular, questions, will he ever be the alpha? Can he get it done with Dak entering the year? Over half of his games with 10 or more targets, truly showed he is an alpha here. Love CeeDee Lamb. I've always loved the player. It was just great confirmation. A.J. Brown obviously was a pristine fit with the explosive Eagles offense and Jalen Hurts, the kid's birthday party narrative came to fruition. And then Sippy Cup, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like absolute definition of a target hog. Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, could not be better as a schemer with slot receivers. So, to me, especially in PPR league, St. Brown is an absolute monster. The ceiling doesn't seem quite as high as some of these other guys. He's not quite the touchdown score as that next tier or the two guys above him. But St. Brown, just such a reliable source of 12, 10, 12, 12, 10, 12, 11, 10, 9, 12, 11, 13. Almost all of his games, only 2 games on the season that he played, did he see less than 8 targets. That's insane. Insane volume, and schemes open so well by Ben Johnson. So big fan. Then we move to tier 3, and these are like your round 3 wide receivers, your elite wide receiver 2s. If you somehow did go running back, or maybe you got Kelsey running back to begin the draft, they could still get you by as your wide receiver 1. But if they're your wide receiver 2, you're feeling damn good. Jalen Waddle at 10, DK Metcalf at 11, Hopkins at 12, and then T. Higgins at 13. And Higgins on any other team would probably be right with the A.J. Browns, the CeeDee Lambs, maybe even approach that top tier. That's how good he is. But he'll always be the 1B to Jamar Chase, in my opinion. I think Chase is just that much more elite here. So that tier, though, is high-end, elite wide receiver 2s, low-end wide receiver 1s. Metcalf got it done all year with Geno Smith. You got to think he's due for a quarterback upgrade. Or Geno, he could be back. He played really, really well. Waddle's obviously a perfect fit for McDaniels, ripping it up and down the field after the catch. So huge fan of him. And then you move into your Chargers guys. Keenan Allen only played 9 games, but man, were they emphatic once he got in there. Ultimately, huge target hog, similar to St. Brown, 14-14, 9-14, then 6th last week against the Rams. But he really closed out the season in style, was top 13 across the game. Definitely getting up there in age. So maybe you got to consider that well into his 30s entering the year. I do have to maybe consider that a little bit more, especially when you got guys like Devonta Smith, the Slim Reaper, young, emerging talents like him. Part of me, as I watch this and think about it, maybe Smith belongs even right alongside T. Higgins, the way he performed this season, ultimately finishing as the wide receiver 10, Devonta Smith, and overall fantasy points right around the wide receiver 15 and points per game. So something to consider there for your fantasy rankings entering next season. But I do love Chargers. I like anything tied to Justin Herbert, as I think that offense, rumblings that Sean Payton might be interested in going there. I don't know that they get rid of Staley after a playoff-bound season, but that would be something special for sure. Godwin, it clearly has emerged as the go-to guy for Tom Brady or whoever. Really such a stud. Like, if we knew what the state of the quarterback was, I think Godwin would be right into that tier 3 with DK, Hopkins, Higgins. I rank him as a talent right along those guys. But big quarterback questions here. What's going to happen? Who's going to be the play caller? But a year removed now from the surgery, so fully healthy. He's talked about at length this year how he really hasn't gotten his legs under him quite yet. I could see him being an absolute monster with the right QB, the right play caller, but those are 2 huge question marks for Godwin. And then we start talking about the young guys. Devonta Smith at 17, like I talked about, I might bump him all the way up to 14, 13 type range here. But after him, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, such an impressive rookie class this last year. You got to think both those guys do for huge quarterback upgrades this offseason. Love them. Then you got a couple of the past top 5 guys in Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley, some question marks, of course, entering 2022 or 2023 rather. But man, they could be huge assets, huge talents. It depends who's throwing to Deebo. But man, Calvin Ridley has been never finished outside the top 8 receivers across the last 2 years. He's elite. So he could be a monster. Cooper, top 10 receiver in fantasy points this year. It was boom or bust. It is how it goes with Amari Cooper. But you got to think him and Deshaun Watson can really forge that rapport this offseason and get even better. Tyler Lockett, a 6-game touchdown streak entering last week. What a beast he is. Just continues to get it done. And then we rounded out with some more of those guys. Christian Watson, again, another part of that elite rookie class we had this year. When he took over as a starter, there was a 5-week span. He was the number 1 receiver in fantasy football. He averaged over 25 points per game for a 5-game stretch. Did fizzle out a little bit when Dobbs came back and Rodgers still continues to play games with him, but man, he's a beast. And then Terry McLaurin rounds out our top 25. You got other guys, I won't go through the entire rest of these guys, but Mike Evans, DJ Moore, big quarterback questions, but obviously insane talent. Similar to Pittman, great talent. Who's his QB going to be? Will Marquise Brown be able to get it done with somebody not named Kyler Murray? Drake London, he's as talented as any of these rookies we talked about, but less faith in Arthur Smith as a play caller. Christian Kirk, great season, but could he be a beast even with Calvin Ridley? Brandon Ayuk, what a step this guy took. But is Trey Lance going to really get it done for multiple receivers if he's the guy? And Judy definitely emerged as a target hog down the stretch. You got to mention George Pickens and Dotson too. Again, definitely top 20 upside. Dotson was a top 20 wide receiver in 6 of his 8 games this year. I love him. Obviously, you need, Pickens, a complete and utter beast. So those are some of the must-watch stories. Like, how does the offseason develop for this impressive, this insane rookie class? Then you got another great 2023 rookie class coming in right behind him. So be interesting to see where those guys land. In terms of, especially compared to the running back position, free agent-wise, let's move to must-watches. Juju is number 1. DJ Chark, Jacoby Myers, McCole Hardman, Slayton, Paris Campbell, Lazard, Sterling Shepard. You can probably get what I'm getting at. It's not nearly as exciting as the running back position is at the wide receivers. Last year was an insane wide receiver crop. This year makes you want to puke. So it makes you wonder, will there be any more monster trades? I mean, we had, again, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams all moved. Will we get some more crazy offseason fireworks this year? We can only hope, given that free agent pool looks disgusting. And then, of course, we mentioned the health of Cooper Kupp, but you also got guys like Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore coming off some season-ending injuries. How will they be recovering this offseason? What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.